Football, bloody hell. That's why we all love it. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Dugout Football channel, where it is time for Matchweek 36 predictions of the 2019-2020 Premier League season. Obviously recording this straight after Manchester United dropping points against Southampton, but my goodness me, what a week it has been in the Premier League. Let's just see how I did in Matchweek 35. I'm going to say this now, it was an absolute disaster. Right, so Norwich West Ham, I went for a 2-0 win to West Ham. It finished 4-0 to West Ham. Watford Newcastle, went for a 1-1 draw. It finished 2-1 to Watford. Liverpool Burnley, I went for a 3-1 win to Liverpool. It finished 1-1. Sheffield United Chelsea, went for a 2-1 win to Sheffield United. It finished 3-0 to Chelsea. Brighton Man City, I went for a 2-0 win to Man City. It finished 5-0 to Manchester City. Wolves Everton, I went for a 2-0 win to Wolves. 3-0 win to Wolves in that game. Aston Villa Crystal Palace, went for a 2-0 win to Crystal Palace. Other way around, 2-0 to Aston Villa. Tottenham Arsenal, went for a 2-1 win to Arsenal. Other way around, 2-1 win to Tottenham. Bournemouth Leicester City, went for a 2-1 to Leicester City. Finished 4-1 to Bournemouth. And Man United Southampton has just finished. And I went for a 3-1 win to Man United, and it finished 2-2 between Manchester United and Southampton. So what a week it's been. Sheffield United beating Chelsea. Chelsea dropping points. Leicester getting absolutely hammered by Bournemouth. And Manchester United dropping points against Southampton. Does anybody want top four? But yeah, it was a fantastic week. So the games we have to preview this game week are as follows. We have Chelsea against Norwich, Burnley against Wolves, Manchester City against Bournemouth, Newcastle United against Tottenham, Arsenal against Liverpool, Everton against Aston Villa, excuse me, Leicester City against Sheffield United, Crystal Palace against Manchester United, Southampton against Brighton and Hove Albion, and West Ham against Watford. So some really, really interesting games to preview for sure. So the first game is Chelsea against Norwich City. Obviously, both of these sides coming off the back of really heavy defeats in the last game week. The last five between the sides have resulted in 4 wins to Chelsea and 1 draw. And the last result was a 1-0 win to Chelsea. It has to be said, Chelsea defensively against Sheffield United were an absolute shambles. And it has to be said, Sheffield United thoroughly deserved to win against Chelsea. Did the basics right, did everything right, really. Defensively, they were absolute shambles defensively, were Chelsea. And, Rudiger given a mistake for the third goal. Kepa should have kept out the first one. Obviously a very good finish from McBurney. Now, a lot has been said this week about Jorginho slowing Chelsea down. Obviously, Martin Tyler came out and said that, obviously, in the game between Sheffield United and Chelsea. And it is a problem. It is a problem. He does seem to slow Chelsea down. I think the problem is, I think he chose the wrong club to go to. I think he might have thrived under Pep at Man City, but obviously he has at Chelsea, and that is very, very interesting to see. Norwich City, unfortunately, have been relegated from the Premier League after a 4-0 defeat to West Ham, and it was just a poor performance. It really, really was. It felt like they gave up. It felt like they gave up, and you cannot do that in the Premier League. You cannot give up when you've got games coming for you, and unfortunately, they have been relegated because of obviously them losing 4-0 to West Ham. They had to win that game, but obviously they lost 4-0. And their time in the Premier League is cut short. So what does that mean now for their players? Will they lose players like Aarons? Will they lose players like Jamal Lewis, Todd Cantwell, Emi Buendia, so on? They could lose a hatful of their main players. And the last place you want to go is a wounded Chelsea. I think Chelsea will win this one, and I think they will win it comfortably. I'm going for a 4-0 win to Chelsea in this game. I just think Chelsea will be too strong for Norwich, and obviously Norwich just preparing life in the Championship next season, so definitely going to be interesting. But I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to Chelsea in this game. Burnley against Wolves now. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 1 win to Burnley, 1 draw, and 3 wins to Wolverhampton Wanderers. The last result was a 2-0 win to Burnley. That was last season, of course. Can I just say, Burnley were absolutely magnificent at Anfield the other day. Thoroughly deserved their point. Nick Pope was absolutely outstanding as well. I was very, very impressed with Burnley. They were very effective against Liverpool, defended really, really well, and obviously caught us on the break. And a great finish from Rodriguez. And you know what, Burnley thoroughly deserved a point. And it's been another good season for Sean Dyche. It really, really has. And if Burnley could get a top half finish, that's a fantastic season for them as well. And they're not expected to challenge for obviously Europe, etc., but they are doing very, very well indeed. So that is one thing you can say about Burnley. They've been absolutely magnificent this season. Wolves, 3-0 win against Everton. Absolutely fantastic performance it was. Raul Jimenez obviously getting them off the score sheet, and then obviously Den Donker as well. And then the ball of the week, Ruben Neves, 50-yard pass straight to Diego Jota, and he did the rest. A very good finish from Diego Jota, and obviously a 3-0 win to Wolves. Now obviously Wolves just outside the Champions League spaces. Obviously they are a couple of points behind Manchester United. But Turf Moor, tough place to go to. Really, really tough place to go to. I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I think Wolves and Burnley will be two. Well, I don't think you can really separate them. Both sides are on very good form. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between Burnley and Wolverhampton Wanderers in this game. Manchester City against Bournemouth, ladies and gentlemen. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 5 wins to the citizens. The last result was a 3-1 win to Manchester City. It has to be said, Manchester City against Brighton. I mean, it was a very good performance. Raheem Sterling getting a hat-trick. Okay, his last goal was a wee bit fortunate. Obviously, he is falling on the deck and obviously goes off his head and into the back of the net. But obviously, well done to Raheem Sterling for a magnificent hat-trick again. And Manchester City obviously showing that, ever since the Southampton defeat, yeah, they've gone and beaten Newcastle and Brighton 5-0 respectively. But it's going to be a very interesting game because obviously Bournemouth coming out of the back of a 4-1 win over Leicester City, and what a strange game it was. Leicester City looking absolutely dominant in the first half, and then obviously second half, obviously they get the penalty, and obviously Dominic Solanke gets his first 2 goals for the club as well, and obviously Soyuncu getting sent off as well. I think that changed the game as well, but Stanislas coming on definitely changed the game for Bournemouth as well. I'm going to say Man City win. I think Man City will definitely win this one. Could be a very, very high scoring game, this one. I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to Manchester City. I just think they'll be too strong for Bournemouth. But Bournemouth, obviously, they can go into the games against Southampton and Everton on the last day of the season and maybe think they've got a chance. Because obviously, look what's happened this week. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We're in very, very close. It's going to be very interesting end to the season. We couldn't say that for sure. But going to go for a 4-0 win to Manchester City. Newcastle United against Tottenham now. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 1 win to Newcastle and 4 wins to Spurs. The last result was a 2-1 win to Tottenham. Now, this is obviously Jose Mourinho's bogey ground as a manager. Obviously, I think it's 1 win so far at Newcastle. He doesn't seem to do well at St James's Park, and especially as obviously Manchester United manager and obviously Chelsea manager as well. So, going to be an interesting game. Obviously, Newcastle coming off the back of a 2-1 defeat to Watford. As to be said, they took the lead in that game, did very, very well, but then I don't know what happened. Obviously, conceding 2 penalties is not very good either. And obviously to Troy Deeney as well. So that's the last person you can say. But they'll be happy to come back at St James's Park. Obviously, they've got a good home record at this moment in time, and it's a very tricky game because obviously Tottenham, they're coming off the back of a 2-1 win over Arsenal. And that was a strange game as well because obviously Arsenal took the lead really early on. And then all of a sudden, Kolasinac plays a hospital pass straight to David Luiz, and Song picks up the ball and scores a fantastic goal as well. So, very, very interesting game. Tottenham's away form recently has not been good. So because of that, I'm going to go for a Newcastle win. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to the Geordies in this game. I think it'll be a very interesting game. But I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Newcastle. And one of the fixtures that stands out anytime the Premier League fixture list is announced is Arsenal against Liverpool. The 229th meeting of these sides. Going to be a very interesting game for sure. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 2 draws and 3 wins to Liverpool. Arsenal not doing very well against Liverpool quite recently. The last result was a 1-1 draw between Arsenal and Liverpool. Oh, Arsenal. What can I say? You have to say that you shot yourselves in the foot again. Kolasinac playing a stupid ball across his own box, straight to Son. Son scores, and the marking for the Alderweireld goal was absolutely awful as well. Lacazette, fantastic goal for him as well. Didn't deserve to be on the losing side in that game because that was a fantastic strike into the top corner. But Arsenal again, it's just same old problems. Cannot keep away from home. They just can't. They just seem to take the lead and then lose it. It really, really is. Must be frustrating for the Gunners faithful. But obviously they're coming back in the Emirates, and it's going to be an interesting game because obviously Liverpool have dropped points. Yes, Liverpool dropped points again. 1-1 against Burnley this time. It has to be said though, as I've said, Burnley deserved the point. Liverpool were not at their best. One positive I could take from that game, obviously, Curtis Jones was absolutely fantastic. Nico Williams looked like he was at home as well. And everyone will say, okay, Bobby Firmino has one more chance to get a home Premier League goal. Maybe he'll get against Chelsea. We'll see what happens as well. But I'm just thinking that Liverpool haven't won at the Emirates since 2016-2017 season, when that was a 4-3 game. All these games between Liverpool and Arsenal were always high-scoring affairs. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Liverpool. I just think Liverpool will be too strong, and I think Arsenal may have one eye on the semi-final against Manchester City. But it'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting as well. But obviously, I think they would want to finish above Tottenham. But be an interesting game. But I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Liverpool. So we'll see what happens. And now we move into Thursday games as well. We've got Everton against Aston Villa. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Everton and 2 wins to Aston Villa. The last result was a 4-0 win to Everton. Now, Everton were absolutely awful against Wolves. Doesn't help that they give away a penalty. And quite frankly, you can understand why the penalty was given. Yes, it's a stupid challenge by Digne. But obviously, Podence is obviously going down before obviously he's touched. So it was a penalty. But you have to say this for now, that how bad has Jordan Pickford been this season? When Alisson came to Liverpool, he said, I will not make mistakes by Alisson. Look at how many mistakes he's made this season. So many mistakes. I mean, he even smiled at the camera when he made a mistake that almost led to a Wolves goal. He let it slip under his body and he managed to get the ball. It was so close to that being a goal. And just ever since then, he's just been poor. There has to be a question mark now. There has to be a question mark over Jordan Pickford's future as England number 1 for me. I think it's now between Nick Pope, Dean Henderson, and maybe Alex McCarthy. Maybe. Obviously, let me know in the comments if you think that Jordan Pickford's time as England number 1 is over. I think it probably is. Nick Pope's proven this season that he's been very, very good. So Pickford is definitely. I think he might be dropped for this game. You know that. I actually do think he might be dropped. I wonder if Everton will go for a goalkeeper in the summer. We'll see what happens. What a big win for Aston Villa though. 2-0 against Crystal Palace. Trezeguet getting both goals. They've given themselves a glimmer of a hope glimmer of hope now. 4 points from safety. 3 games to go. Everton, Arsenal and West Ham to end the season. So, tough games, but the way they're going at the moment, I don't know if Everton. I don't know what Everton's going to turn up. Everton, the Everton that drew 0-0 with Liverpool, the Everton that lost 3-0 against Wolves, the Everton that played really badly against Spurs. We shall see. Shall see what happens. Because of that, I'm going to go for a surprise result here. I think Villa will win this game, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Aston Villa, and that could be absolutely crucial with Bournemouth at Man City, West Ham and Watford playing each other as well. Oh, could be interesting indeed. But yeah, I am going to go for a 2-1 win to Aston Villa. So we shall see what happens. For sure. Leicester City against Sheffield United now. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Leicester and 2 draws for good measure. The last result was a 2-2 draw way back 10 years ago. 20th of November 2010 was the last time these two played at the King Power. Let me just say, Leicester City have ran out of steam. They've ran out of steam. I think you can see that. Their form before Christmas was not great. Their form after Christmas has been awful. Really, really awful. And to lose 4-1 to Bournemouth, there has to be serious questions asked. I know Soyuncu got sent off. Unlike him, obviously Solanke scored the second, and obviously Soyuncu tries to get the ball back, and then obviously Callum Wilson, he kicks Callum Wilson, and with VAR you can't do that now because you will be picked up on it, and obviously Stuart Atwell was right there and obviously sent him off. But defensively Leicester City were a shambles. Schmeichel as well, first goal, what is he doing? Because he basically throws the ball at Wilfred Ndidi's bottom, and then it basically goes straight to the Bournemouth player, and obviously Ndidi has to track back, and obviously wins the penalty as well. So shocking, absolutely shocking. And Leicester City, they only had themselves to blame. They were 9 points clear of Manchester United, and Man United now are level on points with them as well. So it's going to be a very, very interesting turn of events. Sheffield United, absolutely magnificent win against Chelsea. David McGoldrick couldn't hit a barn door before the Chelsea game, and he scores 2. Very, very well done as well. Can I just say, I condemn the racist abuse that Watford Zaha and David McGoldrick got. Absolutely ridiculous, and you obviously just cannot legislate for that. So hopefully both Zaha and obviously McGoldrick are good as well. Nobody deserves to get racist abuse. Nobody, especially, and it's happening too much now. It really, really is, and something's got to be done about it for sure. So, looking at this game, it's a tough one. It's a very, very tough one to call. I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I don't think Leicester have been too good this season when they have drawn as well. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between Leicester City and Sheffield United. I think it'll be a very tricky game to call, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between Leicester City and Sheffield United. Crystal Palace against Manchester United now. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Manchester United, 1 draw, and that win to Crystal Palace was obviously the game at Old Trafford this season. But the last meeting was a 3-1 win to Manchester United. Crystal Palace, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Poor performance. Yes, Sacco scores, but obviously it gets disallowed by VAR. Yeah, tricky one to say really, but it was a very, very poor performance from Crystal Palace. There's no doubt about it. Christian Benteke getting sent off at the final whistle as well. Not good at all. And it's going to be an interesting end to the season for Palace because it feels like they've kind of lost their way a little bit. And they are playing Manchester United. They obviously drew 2-2 with Southampton. And in that game, to be honest, Man United weren't at their best. They were not at their best. Defensively, again, shocking again. The last goal, I don't know what Lindelof is doing for the equaliser. He has to be more strong than that. Has to be more strong. But you know, if Maguire gets a header in away, it's 2-1 Man United, and they go and win, and they're third. But now they're sitting fifth, level on points behind Leicester City. But top four is in their own hands now. That is one thing you can say. It is in their own hands. So I think Man United will win, but I think I'm going to go for a Palace goal. But I'm going to think Man United will be too strong. 3-1 win to Manchester United in this game. Excuse me. And we have Southampton against Brighton. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 2 wins to Southampton and 3 draws in there for good measure. The last result was a 2-2 draw between Southampton and Brighton. Southampton, fantastic performance against Manchester United, that has to be said. Really, really good. It has to be said, Michael Obafemi scoring the equaliser as well. Stuart Armstrong getting the opener as well. They played really, really well against Manchester United and were dangerous any time they went forward as well. Very, very good performance from Southampton, and they can take that into Brighton game because obviously they are coming up against their rivals, Brighton. Has to be said, Brighton, they're 5-0 against Man City. Not the best performance, but you don't play Man City every week, and you don't play Liverpool every week. So they've got themselves out of that bad run for sure. So most of these games are draws. I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I can't really separate the two. They're quite closely evenly matched in the table as well. 1-1 draw I'm going to go for between Southampton and Brighton. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. And the biggest game, I think, of the season so far, West Ham against Watford. Both of these sides stuck on 34 points, and it's going to be a really, really interesting game, this one. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to West Ham, 2 wins to Watford. The last result was a 2-0 win to Watford. West Ham, has to be said, 4-0 win at Norwich. Really good performance. Mikel Antonio getting 4 goals as well. Very, very good from him. Really, really good from him to get 4 goals. And to be honest with you, it could have been a lot more. Could have been a lot more for West Ham. But no, this is a big game, because obviously both of these sides are, like I've said, are on 34 points. Watford coming off the back of a 2-1 win over West Ham. Coming off the back of a 2-1 win over Newcastle, has to be said. Yeah, good win, because obviously Troy Deeney getting both goals as well. Watford just got to keep getting points, and we'll see what happens. But the pressure is now on those teams because obviously with Bournemouth and Aston Villa winning recently as well, has put the pressure on them. So really, really interesting game. I think both sides will cancel each other out. I don't see many goals in this game. I'm going to go for a stalemate. West Ham 0, Watford 0. I do think it might be a 0-0 draw. It's one of those games where it's a very tricky one to predict. Very, very tricky one to call. But I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw between West Ham and Watford. So that is it. That is my Match Week 36 predictions done and dusted. And I'll give you my predictions really, really quickly. Chelsea 4, Norwich 0. Burnley 1, Burnley 1, Wolves 1. Manchester City 4, Bournemouth 0. Newcastle United 1, Tottenham 0. Arsenal 1, Liverpool 3. Everton 1, Aston Villa 2. Leicester City 1, Sheffield United 1. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 3. Southampton 1, Brighton 1. And West Ham 0, Watford 0. So that is it. That is my Match Week predictions. Match Week 36 predictions done and dusted. If you want to leave your predictions, please leave them in the comment section down below. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing your predictions for the next game week. Should be a very interesting game week, as I've said. And yeah, we shall see what happens. But yes, not long to go now. Got 2 more game weeks after this one. Very, very exciting. And it's getting very exciting at the bottom of the table. It's getting very exciting for the top 4 places. Better not to miss these games this week as well. But thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, then please hit that subscribe button as well. Smash the like on the video, and yeah, obviously look ahead to obviously your midweek Premier League card as well. I've got FA Cup games as well. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.